Welcome to Crushing 1L, a show about the ethicality of company towns through the lens of Thneedville. Today's special guest, the Lorax. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, this is actually a show about Crushing 1L being your first year of law school. And I'm Aaminah. I'm an Ask Ben responder here at LSAT Demon, in addition to a variety of other things. And I am also an incoming 1L at UCLA Law.
Awesome. And I'm Abhi. I'm a teacher and tutor at LSAT Demon as well, and an incoming 1L at Penn Law. We'll be your hosts and your guides through the trials and tribulations of the all-important first year of law school.
As we step forth into this brave new world, this show will memorialize our experience in law school, hopefully serving as a pathway for those of you who hope to one day follow in our footsteps. Of course, we're going to bring the friends we make along the way and do interviews with fellow law students, lawyers, and other law school graduates to give you all the inside look at what it's like to be in the legal field, law school, and beyond.
So whether you're prepping for law school or already in the thick of it, you're in the right place, and we're happy to have you. We ended up not getting the Lorax, last minute conflict. Our people called their people. Anyway, we do have Erin Lotridge. Welcome, Erin. On behalf of the legal profession, not the trees, but lawyers everywhere. Sorry, that's just the job. In addition to being a top-notch attorney, superstar lawyer, she's also a Crushing 1L writer, editor, and I would say legal visionary for LSAT Demon. Is that appropriate, Erin? Is that what you would call your job description?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a visionary, but I would say that I follow around wherever Abhi's going, whatever Abhi's doing, and I just clean up any messes that he makes. I would say that's mostly my job.
Well, I think that's just lawyer. That's just a definition of what lawyer is. No, to be clear, I don't create legal problems for LSAT Demon. Ben, Nate, if you're watching, I don't create any legal problems for LSAT Demon. I promise.
And I think we can thank
But no,
Erin
we're
for that?
super.
Yes,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
super
exactly.
grateful. But thank you, Erin, for joining us. We're so excited to have you. Erin, you've been a force of nature for the Crushing 1L program. You've been a core writer, a core editor. You introduce a legal perspective. You're a real life attorney. You're a barred attorney. You've held a bunch of fancy jobs. We'll get into your resume and why people are impressive beyond the resume, but we will get into why your resume is impressive. But more importantly, you've just been super dedicated and committed to improving the quality of our content here, especially the law school content, from the perspective of an attorney, from the perspective of somebody who's gone through law school, crushed law school, passed the bar. I think that's such a valuable perspective. So super glad. Long overdue to have you here on the podcast. Welcome. But yeah, could you take a second, just introduce yourself a little bit, give us a little bit of background of maybe where you went to school and how you found yourself even thinking about going to law school in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that incredibly generous introduction. Incredible hype. That was lovely. My name's Erin. I also want to preface this by saying, if you're watching this in video, I'm sorry that my bookshelves are disheveled. I was not told ahead of time that this would be on video, so I didn't prepare. And I hope that's okay to say on the podcast.
I feel like a lawyer's bookshelves being actively used is, if anything, a positive. You're pulling all of your legal things, right? All the laws that you have.
Okay, listeners, find the assumptions in that statement. Get back to us. Write in crushing1l.com. Put it in the type form. But yeah, we'll go with that.
All the laws that you have on your bookshelf, you're constantly rifling through every law, right?
Each law is an individual book. That is how the law works, and I have all of them. So
wait, yeah. Erin, do you have a pocket constitution on your bookshelf somewhere?
I do think we have a pocket constitution somewhere in this house, but I have no idea where.
Okay, that's fine. Just so long as you have one.
Of course.
Wait, but back to...
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, please, tell us about yourself, how you found your path to law school, etc.
Yes, okay, relevant information. So my name's Erin, as was mentioned. I studied something completely unrelated from law in undergrad. I studied astronomy and astrophysics. I was not very good at it, which is why I didn't pursue it professionally, but I did graduate. And so after undergrad, I didn't know what to do. I like flailed around a little bit. I worked at a bank for a while. I like worked in a startup. I did all these different things. Eventually, I found my way to a nonprofit. And it was a nonprofit up in Boston, and it works with homeless and low income parents and families and trying to get access to higher education and better paying careers for low income parents. And I loved it, and it was amazing. And in my job, I got to lead workshops on like financial aid and like college applications and things, as well as do one-on-one meetings with folks. And I loved it. I was in that job for a number of years. But something that kept coming up is, I was trying to help people like get into college so they could earn more money. And it's like, there's actually a lot more going on that makes things hard for people besides not being able to fill out the FAFSA, right? Like, there's only so much you can do. Like, there was only so much that I could do as a direct service one-on-one person in helping people fill out forms and helping people access resources. But there were a lot of things that would come up, like like there were domestic violence concerns, there were immigration concerns, there was like identity theft. There were all of these things that happen to folks who are like living at the axes of oppression in our society, at the risk of sounding something, that I couldn't fix. And I was just like, you need a lawyer. You need a lawyer. And there were not enough lawyers that were willing to take on these cases. Like, there was so much more need than there were people to do it. And so, as is the case with many like public interest law students and lawyers, I eventually just got so mad that I applied to law school. And that's pretty much how it happened. I like took the LSAT and applied to law school all pretty rapidly, and ended up like getting accepted to law school in early 2020 and deciding I would go in the fall of 2020. And anyway, it was an adventure, as you can imagine.
2020 uneventful year. I don't know what you're talking about.
Totally uneventful.
Nothing major happened.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Totally uneventful. Moved from Boston back down to Maryland, which is where I'm from, to attend the University of Maryland in Baltimore, and loved it. However, I basically attended Zoom University of Law for the first year, which was fine, honestly. For me, not for everyone, but I had a lot of privilege in that space of just being like, yeah, I'm an introvert, this is fine.
Yeah, you tell me I can stay home all day?
Yeah.
Too fucking easy. Yeah.
Too easy. Stay home, do my reading, eat ice cream while I'm in class. Fine.
Which I would be doing regardless, but maybe frowned upon. Yeah.
Yeah. So went to law school, started in 2020, graduated in 2023. Had a great time. I really liked law school. It's hard and intellectually challenging, but it was, as it turns out, like way easier for me than astrophysics. I was like, oh, I made a huge mistake as an undergrad.
You mean to say that law school wasn't rocket science? Like, wow. Okay. Taking notes.
No, but I mean, easier in that I didn't have to do math, but harder in many other ways. And yeah, graduated in 2023, did a federal clerkship for a year on the District of Maryland, here in Baltimore, best city in the country, if not the world.
Certainly,
let it ride.
Certainly one of the, I wouldn't say best city. I would say one of the cities in Maryland. I would give it that.
Yeah.
One of the cities.
I was gonna let it slide,
That's
but
rude.
One of the cities of all time, and one of the cities in Maryland of all time for sure.
Baltimore is the best. It gets a bad rap, but it's a great town, and I love it here, and it's wonderful, and it's the only place in Maryland that you can afford to live, and that's an important feature to remember, especially if you're interested in public interest law.
Don't even get me started on housing policy. I will my YIMBY ass will jump in here and just make everything about zoning. But anyway, yeah, Amen. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, that's perfect. Always interrupt for Yimby. So yeah, so I did a federal clerkship in Baltimore, which again is the best city in America, if not the country, or if not the world. And I'll say that again.
When there are no other cities, yes, this is a true statement.
Stop. Um, but anyway, I did a clerkship here. Loved it. That was amazing. Love my judge. And then I started at DOJ Civil Rights Division as an honors attorney in the fall of last year. So that's my story.
Okay.
Roughly.
And that's folks, if you're listening, like, and you're like, oh cool, like what does that mean? That is a prestigious thing. So again, I want to caveat, people are more than their resumes, but when people crush law school and they like graduate top of their class and they get federal clerkships and they get picked to be DOJ attorneys, those are big fancy things. So congratulations, Aaron. You've had an illustrious career so far.
Thank you. Something like that, yes.
But and I think a bunch of people are going to be interested in that. So folks, if you have questions about that, write in. But I think Aaminah and I are mostly interested in how you navigated your early days of law school.
Yes, and I mean, there was so much to unpack just even in the first year, you coming to law school, and then like your first year specifically. Like as you're speaking, I'm thinking, you came to law school, it sounds like, out of this desire to like fight oppression, fight inequality.
Mm-hmm.
You saw a need and you wanted to fill it. I'm curious specifically, I mean, like, I know this isn't perhaps the most relevant in terms of moving forward, we're not in lockdown anymore, but like coming to law school out of a desire to fight inequality and out of this recognition of this immense oppression in our systems, and then being plunged in your first year into the lockdown, did that, what was the impact? There had to have been an impact. What was the impact of that, like, in your first year, and then like in your in you as a lawyer, like how did that impact you in your first year and beyond?
Yeah, that is such a good question. And it's wild because I feel like I thought about this all the time for so many years, and now it's so easy to forget this like horrible historic thing we all lived through. So there are a number of, obviously, ways that this impacted us. Us being like everyone who went to law school at that time. First off, obviously, extracurriculars were not the same. And extracurriculars are a big part of your law school experience. And so that was something that, yes, technically there were Zoom meetings for things, but it wasn't the same. Like it basically didn't count. Which, has its pros and cons. Cons, obviously, in that we weren't getting that like part of enrichment. Pros in that like we had more time and no one could judge us for it. So there was that. I did have time to do all of my reading. There also, I mean, even though we didn't get the chance to do extracurriculars that maybe would have had us out in the community as much, COVID really underscored the reason that I went to law school, especially being in Baltimore, which, again, incredible city, but does have its challenges, notoriously. And seeing the way that the city was really trying to support all of its residents equally and give additional support to the folks who most needed it, but also seeing the way that like the power structures were failing to do that. A like personal example at a different system and different axis of oppression. I have type 1 diabetes and like some autoimmune stuff. And so I was like at high risk for COVID, right? And our school, like in conjunction with like the hospital and the city and stuff, like had these doses of the COVID vaccine to give out. And there was like all of this debate over how they were giving them out to people. And what ended up happening is they did not distribute the first round to people who had like high risk conditions. Like we had students who were older, students who were pregnant, people with pre-existing conditions, like, and we were not given priority in the first round. And in addition, of course, there's, why are the law students getting these vaccines when there are so many members of the community that like could need them more? And it was a hard time. I don't begrudge like the deans or whatever for doing their best to handle it. But it just further highlighted the way that everything is interconnected. There are all of these systems of power. There are all of these protections that need to be in place, and these protections that need to be in place and that don't mean anything if you're not enforcing them, if someone isn't standing up to challenge things, which is the whole point of going to law school and learning how to be an advocate, and learning how to stand up for yourself and everyone else and challenge things that are unfair. So there was just a ton of that. And then, of course, there was like ongoing controversy around masking and back to in-person classes and who does that impact, right? Like, obviously, like, people who are able-bodied 22-year-olds with financial resources who can afford to like risk getting sick are going to be more likely to go back in person than people who have families or ailing family members or who are non-traditional students or who have a disability of some kind. Like, there were just continuing ways that COVID, just continued to highlight all of the reasons that a lot of us went to law school in the first place, and continued to be a motivator in that sense. I hope that was responsive. I feel like I rambled a bit. Sorry.
No. That was great.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think you said something really, really important, which is when things like that happen, when disasters happen, essentially, they expose the weak points in structures. So like they expose all the cracks in what we otherwise might have assumed would be like a fine thing, a fine structure, a fine institution, a fine plan. But to your point, I think there's people out there and there's probably listeners who are like, wait, but like I kind of see the cracks already.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of why I'm interested in being an advocate. I'm interested in joining the fight to kind of, I don't know, like it's like the world's most important cement, filling the cracks in like the foundation of our society. And yeah, I mean, I think it's so important to point out that when something crazy like that happens, it just makes everything so much more evident. It makes stuff so much more out in the open. Man, that's crazy.
I mean, such an impactful experience in your first year, right? Especially you coming in from like, I already see that we already have glaring issues that we need to address, and then in your first year, like, bam, COVID, like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Very revelatory and exposing, I would say.
I mean, I'll play the devil's advocate. I think everything's fine. I'm not going to law school to fix anything. I think everything is totally fine the way it is.
He's actually going to reinforce these systems.
Yeah, we need lawyers. Hey, this is important, folks. This is important. We need zealous advocates on both sides. So if for every 2 people that go to law school to change something, we need a brave person like me to go to law school to keep things the same. I think things should stay the same or make them worse, just as a philosophical exercise to make sure that everyone's doing their best.
Yeah, just to give the rest of us something to do, definitely.
Exactly.
Okay. Abhi, do you want to take the next question or?
Yeah, absolutely. What is the next question? What do you think the next question is?
So then my next question, building on that.
See, I'm embodying my role of like somebody who wants to make things worse. This is yeah.
So kind of first impressions of One L. So, of course, again, you're in Zoom University.
Mm-hmm.
So that's its own thing, but as much as you can connect with your classmates, connect with your professors and things of that nature, like how is One L for you experiencing it at this time?
Yeah. I would say, with the exceptions of the very obviously negative COVID situation.
Totally fine. Everything was fine.
Everything was fine. I did get a cat out of this whole situation. So yeah, but 1L, it's wild because you're learning so much in such a short amount of time. And things that are just not at all intuitive. I always liken it. I actually don't know if this is a universal experience, but this was my experience when I started algebra and then when I started calculus. You have to like shift the way your brain thinks about things, and it's like a completely different way than the way that your brain used to do math. And so you have to spend like a week or two just getting acclimated to a new just system way of thinking. And that's kind of what 1L is like, is the first like few weeks you're just going to be like, what is happening? Like, I remember at some point this just betrays how woefully unprepared I was for this. Like, I was like, I don't know, like, why is there a defendant in both a civil case and a criminal case, but like there's only a plaintiff in a civil case and then there's like a prosecution in a criminal case, and like I like don't understand this. And just having to learn, like, there's so much vocabulary, there's so much about the way that courts work, like there's so many different interlocking court systems, and like some of this you're gonna get through like your classes, like civil procedure and stuff, but some of it you kind of need to know day one. Like some of it you're reading a case before school starts, right? Like you're doing your first day reading and they're talking about like the plaintiff or whatever, and they're talking about summary judgment, and you're like, what? Like what the freak is happening right now? I like don't understand. And so there's a few weeks of you just being like trying to learn a new language really rapidly, which is fine. Like it's so stressful, but you'll get there and then you'll be like, I'm actually a genius now. I actually know all the law.
Every single law.
Every law. They're all on
They're all on her bookshelf.
Yeah. They used to be. They used to be, at least.
Yeah.
It's unclear where they are now. Yeah.
They're elsewhere now. Yeah, so you do that. So you're learning a lot of just like vocabulary and like a new way of thinking, which you're going to continue to learn. Like I remember one of the other ways I had to adjust my thinking was in legal writing, because I majored in astrophysics, but I minored in English, and I have always liked writing. But like the writing that you do like for fun or like in your English class is absolutely not what legal writing is. Like you need to purge your mind of what you think writing is going into legal writing. At least that's how it was for me, because it was like in legal writing you have to follow a pretty specific formula at least your 1L year, and you should not deviate from that formula. And I remember one of my professors, I like went to his office hours and was like, I don't understand why on this like practice test I didn't do better. And he was like, it's because you didn't IRAC. And like, it's because you didn't IRAC. And so he sat there with me and he highlighted each of my sentences. He was like, okay, issue is going to be yellow, rule is going to be pink, analysis application is going to be blue, and C is going to be orange. And he went through each of my sentences and highlighted them. And he was like, colors should be like, all the blues should be together, all the yellows should be together. And they were like all spread out. And I was like, oh my God, like that really made something click for me. So all of this is to say, I learned a lot. I was very lucky in that I had like my professors also were like not doing so, they like weren't commuting, they whatever, so they had time to make themselves super available on Zoom. So that was something I took a lot of advantage of in trying to make this like mindset shift. Was just like really aggressively reaching out to my professors, which really helped me make the transition.
And it's so cool because you made a really good point where like if you were going to medical school, for instance, you would have had to take an anatomy class to like learn the words about what the parts of the body are. And you would have had to take a biology class and a physics class and a chemistry class to like learn the vocabulary. Maybe not learn even, but just be familiar with all of these things. Law school doesn't have any of that. You just take a dumb exam, and then all of a sudden you're like qualified to go to law school. So not only are you learning all of this vocabulary, terminology, familiarizing yourself with the language of the law, but then you're also actually learning how to communicate in it. So in a way, you're just being completely immersed. It's almost like a new language. It's almost like if you were to take like a foreign language course, but it's not a foreign language, but it is kind of a foreign language. Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly, I feel like, I myself have like my background in political. Sorry, I shouldn't make that noise when I describe it.
Aaminah, as a political scientist.
My background in political science.
Aaminah, as a political scientist, everything is your fault. Why? Why did you do this?
No. I'm not a political scientist. I just
Why did you
studied
let this
political
happen?
science. But no, I mean to say like in the upper edges of my political science courses, we did con law and stuff. So like even like every now and then here and there, like I see a case that I'm like, wait, I read this like in con law, or I interface with this in like criminal procedure, whatever it was that I did. So like a little bit of exposure, but like again, like still not so much. And like we've talked also about the model of language learning as a useful tool for approaching the LSAT, approaching like anything that you want to get really good at. Well, I talked about it. I don't know if you concur, Abhi, but I feel that that is a useful structure for understanding like, okay, I feel it's a useful structure for understanding like how to really succeed in a space. So on that, I mean, I'll ask another question, or Abhi, you want to ask a question? I don't know, but I'll make room.
Yeah,
for
go
you
for
to
it.
speak. Okay, so on that, yeah, in your first year, emphasizing, if there was an emphasis for you on immersion, I mean, again, as much as you could in terms of like being in lockdown and stuff, but like connecting with your peers and stuff, like what was it like forming study groups? How was it like doing material outside of class? Like how did you immerse yourself in the world of law in your first year?
Yeah, that is such a good question. And I think that your peers are such an important part of your law school experience. Like, your peers are really going to push you and challenge you and engage with uh engage with the content with you in a way that will really deepen your understanding. I so Maryland, like a lot of law schools, assigns everyone into sections. So I had a section, a small group, whatever you want to call it, that was like, there were like 18 of us in this small group, and we took all of our 1L classes together, which ended up, and COVID, despite being an absolute nightmare, and despite
Totally fine.
never meeting most of these people in person for a long time, we had a group chat that was bumping, like just constant. And like we developed quite a rapport in that way. And so within that small group, there were like a couple of different type of study groups that formed. Very quickly, I got into one study group that was like a kind of random assortment of people, but we all like lived close together and like had all spoken the first day of class. And it was like, you're probably someone who wants to talk. And then, as the semester went on, I also identified 2 other people who I was like, oh, these people like are making really, really good points in class. They're asking really good questions. Like, they're being very thoughtful. And I was like, oh, I would really like to have a study group with them. And then they invited me, and I should have been the one to initiate, but
we don't chase, we attract. Okay.
Amen. Manifest.
Sometimes the universe just shines down on you.
Yeah. And one of those people was Matt, who's an LSAT demon.
Real demon
staff
heads.
member.
Real demon heads will know Matt Dumont.
King.
LSAT demon, teacher, tutor, boss. Technically, all of our boss.
Yeah.
But super nice guy.
Yeah.
Would never let being the boss get in the way of being a nice guy.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah.
So then I was in like 2 study groups, which was great because everyone comes and brings different thoughts and different perspectives, and it's also a good way to make friends, especially when you're in lockdown and literally don't interact with people besides doing like sometimes virtual, sometimes in person in a park study group. It's like got really tight with those people.
What kinds of questions? This is a 2-part question. But what kinds of questions and comments and whatever made you think, oh, these people are being thoughtful? Like, what makes a question thoughtful in class or wherever or outside of class? And then separately, what kinds of questions or comments would you bring to your study groups to be to make sure that you were being the most effective and efficient with your time with other people?
Yeah. Okay. So
sorry, that was like a lot of questions all in one.
No, that was good. I'm just trying to make sure that I like remember to hit all the components because I have like disjointed answers about them. Okay, so the first one, this is such a good question and not one that I've ever like been asked before, and now I wish I had taken notes on what questions people were asking. Actually, I think I probably do have notes about questions that people asked, and I was like, oh wow, Matt asked this question, but I'm not going to find them right now. I think that for the most part, good questions were one, questions that I had, two, questions that like weren't just about the material immediately before us, but that connected it to something else. So it would be like, oh, in this case, they applied strict liability, or, they applied one legal doctrine, but in this other case, they didn't. And it seemed like those were similar. So I don't understand why that didn't happen. Or, something else like that, that's like drawing these larger conclusions or trying to get at these larger points or pointing out inconsistencies, something that elevates my understanding so that it's not just, like getting to the basics of the main idea of the thing before you, but that's taking you a next level up, and making you really think about things. I think those are probably the best way to describe questions, that I found particularly insightful. And then, how did I come prepared to be efficient in my time with study group? I frankly did not. I was not an efficient time user. Again, recall, this is COVID. This is my only social interaction. So I'm like, hey, what do you think about consideration in contracts?
Yeah. Do
No.
you guys see Succession?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
That's what I would ask in a study group.
Exactly. No, but I genuinely, I used my study groups mostly to be like, I'm confused about this and I don't understand all of the contours of this. And I'm someone who, and I think this is probably true for most people in law school, like if I don't understand every little nuance of something, I'm like, I don't understand it at all. My mind operates in a complete binary on that. It's like, I either know 100%, or if I know like 98%, then I'm like, this is absolutely useless to me. I have no knowledge on this topic. So I would get hung up on something and be like, this is not something that I can like ask in class. But this is something that I can maybe hammer out with my study group, and like, because everyone has different understandings. And sometimes I would be like, hey, I don't understand like how consideration worked in this case. And someone would be like, oh, it's because it was literally just that they promised something to each other and they exchanged it. And I would be like, oh my God, yes. Like, it's so obvious now that you've said it in the words that I understand, which are not the words the professor used. And then sometimes it would be like, hey, like, how does removal of a case from state court to federal court work? Like, do we know that yet? And everyone would be like, no, we don't. Like, I have no idea. Let's brainstorm questions for the professor. And then as we got towards the end of the semester, like specifically in my like secondary study group, we were just running practice tests and then going over the answers with each other, of the ones that we got wrong and things like that, talking through practice questions, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That makes sense. So part like translation into plain English, part validation of like, hey, I don't know what's going on and neither do you, and that's okay. Yes. And then part kind of organized effort, which I think, folks, if you're listening, that's the platonic ideal of a study group. So you heard it here first.
Amen.
Yeah.
I mean, but even just selecting those people, really, it's like game recognized game. Get your intuition up, watch in class, figure it out. Like, But yeah, I thought it was so, like, I think you touched on this as well. I'll be like, really important to, actually, also, this is something that Ben and Nathan say, like, kind of this aspect of confidence, right? Of like being confident enough to say, like, I don't understand what's going on and like I should. So like, let me like figure it out, instead of just being like, something I never have done, but just like, I'm just gonna fake it. I'm gonna panic behind the scenes. And then, oh, as it turns out, we didn't even learn this yet. Or like, everybody else was also confused on this yet. So like, yeah, really important to, have these conversations. And I, from what I hear you saying, like, use the study group to like actually understand instead of just like, you know, trying to be like pretend like you know everything and be the best at these settings.
Yeah. And wait,
Yeah.
Aaminah, you just said something that like brings me to one of my most passionate takes, which is like you should always ask whatever stupid questions you have in class. Like raise your hand, be like, "Hey, what is equal protection?" Like raise your hand, ask the stupidest questions that you have. It doesn't matter. You're paying to be there. Or like, you know, someone's paying for you to be there. Like they have to answer your question. They get paid to do that. You should ask it. And like if you look stupid, who cares? Like most people, like if you are confused, someone else is confused. I asked 1,000 questions. I know people thought it was annoying. I was like, I don't care. I'm here to learn things. But I like almost always someone would like DM me, because remember we were on Zoom. Someone would DM me and be like, "Hey, thanks for asking that. Like I was really confused about that too." So it's good. Like ask your questions. My best friend, like the most profound impact she's had on me, is she was like, there is nothing in this world that I am afraid of doing in front of a group of people, like because I think it'll make me look stupid. Like if I need to do X, Y, and Z to achieve my goal, like I will do it. I will ask the dumbest questions available, if that's what I need. And I think that is like the attitude with which we should approach everything.
The audacity. That's what I call that. You need the audacity.
Yeah, you do. Like
Have the audacity.
Do an improv group. Get up your skills of looking silly in front of people. Like you gotta, sometimes you gotta ask those questions.
And I think it's just such an interesting concept of like what people have this idea that there are stupid questions.
No.
And then there's this cheesy response, the call and response of like, I have a stupid question. And then somebody's like, there's no such thing as stupid questions. And then everybody goes, ha ha ha, thank you. And then you ask the question, like, can we just not do the song and dance?
Yeah.
There truly are no stupid questions. There are only questions. There may be stupid people, but that's a different conversation. There's no stupid questions. Somebody raising their hand, being vulnerable and going, hey, I need help understanding this. Like, wow. What a brave and effective thing to do.
Yeah.
Like asking for help is the most brave and effective thing you could do. I think I don't know are the 3 most powerful words in the English language. Well, the 6 most powerful words. I don't know. Can you explain? Yeah. Those are the 6 most powerful words in the English language. No, I love that. Yeah, man. I've never been afraid. I have never been afraid to raise my hand and go, I didn't understand the thing you just told me. Because what do I get?
That seems true for you, Abhi.
That does. It's very
that actually tracks so hard.
It's for better or for worse, it's very on brand. But I guess like the way to think about it is, or the way that I think about it is, what do I benefit from faking that I understood?
Yeah.
What? What is that? What's the upside of what's the upside there, right?
Your reputation is preserved.
Yeah, right.
You don't understand what it's like
and then yeah.
Aaminah's like having a breakdown. It's fine.
Oh my god. No. But no, you're right. I mean, it's definitely, I'm just speaking to the people who are like me.
No,
who are listening, like me. Yeah.
Very
like
valid.
ask the questions.
Yeah.
If not for you, for someone else.
Yeah, Aaminah, one of my best friends that I made in law school is like that. Like she is terrified to speak in class. She does not want attention. She doesn't want people to look at her. And she would she would sometimes be like, I don't understand this. And I would be like, I'll fucking ask. I don't care. Sorry for the swearing. Like, yeah, I'll raise my hand. I'll ask it. If it's like, who cares? So like, yeah, ally yourself with a loudmouth loser like me and Abhi, who will just do it for you. Yeah.
Alliances are important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And also doubly if you're like me, just think about how bad you feel when somebody else says the exact thing that you were going to say, but you were too scared to say it. And you're like, I was going to say that. You missed an opportunity to like present yourself.
Oh, that's so huge. Oh, I didn't even think of that.
That's so
like,
real.
Somebody getting credit. Like
God, it's the worst.
Somebody getting DM'd of like, oh, thank you. That was such a great question. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
And somebody else is getting that. And you could have asked
that could have been you. That could have been you. Yeah. But yeah, so ask the questions, ask for help, say you don't know. Good notes to take away.
Yeah.
Speaking of notes, I'm curious. One of these two, I have two big question marks about like the first year specifically. And the first one, I keep hearing this word. I have a general idea about what it is, but I really want to know more about outlines. Can you tell me about outlines?
Aaminah, I'm glad you asked. Outlines. Outlines are such a fascinating topic because they are just such an absolute black box of mystery. Like going into law school, and frankly, even for a while when you're in law school, because you're just like, what's an outline? And everyone's like, oh, you have to find your own style, and you're like, okay, like that's not helpful to me.
Right.
My own style of what? Like I don't know if I'm supposed to be playing jazz music, singing folk music, or if I'm supposed to be like writing calligraphy. Like it doesn't help for me to have my own style if I don't know what the content is.
Right.
So an outline is I like outlines. I do think that in some sense, like we should do away with the idea that you like absolutely have to have an outline, because like having an outline is not the important thing. The important thing is making the outline. So an outline is just a tool that you use to prepare for your final exams. That's it. Or your midterms, whatever. An outline is a thing that you use to study. And like some people don't use them. Most people do. I found them very helpful. And essentially it's like a distilled version of every single thing you learned in that class that could possibly come up on the test, right? So it's like all of the quote unquote black letter law, which is like the actual rules, like the actual law, right? Like, you know, like what is the fourth?
Illegal to murder.
Exactly. Illegal to murder, black letter law.
That's one of the laws I know.
And then like all of the different things that support that, right? So like you want your black letter law, and then you want to have like basically the cases, the statutes, whatever that support that rule, so that you can review all of that and be prepared to cite to those things on an exam. Different people go into different levels on their outlines. Different people use different styles, formats, right? Like one time I made a Prezi because I was like feeling very extra, and I am a visual person, as you might have gleaned by the whole like highlighting sentences thing. Like I understand very well like with visual stuff, and I was like, oh, I can like go in and out. I only did that once. Don't worry. But yeah, so it's
there's the question of the work you're doing to make the thing, and the efficacy you get out of it. That might have been unaligned for the Prezi, but
yeah, but it's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Wow, that's me in bullet journaling. Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah, but so it's like it's your study tool. Whatever that tool is for you. Some people like note cards, like it's whatever. Most people it's just like a Word doc with a bunch of notes, but it's not going to be useful to you if you just copy and paste. Like the point of outlining is that you are truly reviewing all of the content and synthesizing it into your brain in a way that makes sense, which is why it's like useful to be able to say like, here is the black letter law, here's all the stuff that supports it, which is not necessarily the way you're going to learn it in class. Like the important thing is that you are organizing it in your brain so that you can then access it on the test.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Fancy notes that organize the information you were given in a way that makes the most sense to you.
Exactly. Yeah. And
bam, outlined.
Which is what I just outlined.
You just
what
outlined
Erin just said.
You
I
sure
just
did.
outlined live.
You sure did.
My outline was just outlines are notes. You need notes. Take notes.
Like that.
Obvious
that's part of it. Yeah.
Obviously gonna do better in law school. I can see it already.
Bar exam who? Sign me up. I could do it. Kim Kardashian could do it. I could do it.
Amen.
Right.
And that's not like, to be clear, I'm not
a dig on
not
Kim.
a dig on Kim. That's a like she figured it out and I can't too.
She's a genius and so am I.
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking about all the things that Kim Kardashian can do that I would be interested in seeing you challenge yourself to do. But neither here nor there. Back to outlines. I just was, curious about it because everybody uses it as if it's like to the point of foreign terms, like as if it's a foreign term.
Mhm.
Like an
Mhm.
outline is a law school thing that does not exist outside of law school.
And it's like, it's just notes.
It's
It's
just
just
notes.
notes.
It's just notes. We don't have to be weird about it. It's just notes.
Yeah. Like, don't
Like,
stress over it. You don't have to turn
yeah.
it in. No one else needs to see it unless you want to like exchange with your study group, which can be helpful. Like an outline is like, just don't, everyone stop worrying about it. It's fine. You need to figure out how to study. That's the point.
Okay, so outlines squared away. Perfect. My second big like question about law school, the first semester is so important, they say, because now, like, especially OCI's on-campus interviews,
Yeah.
hiring for your 1L summer is starting so much earlier. What was that process like for you? How did your first year like translate into specifically those first couple months too, but like the first year in general translate into you getting your summer job?
That's a good question. And I am like maybe not the best person to ask about this because I went into law school with a single-minded focus of doing the kind of direct service work that my pre-law school clients didn't have access to. So I was like, I want to work at legal aid. I never did OCI my entire time through law school because that's like mostly firms and stuff. And I like have never had an interest in that. I've always been like the public interest route.
Large
And-
law firms have done nothing wrong and are completely ineffable. Scot-free.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what I've always said. And I've gone on record as saying that.
Large
all the time.
corporations can do no wrong.
And furthermore, we need more of them and we need them to be bigger.
I think that there should be simultaneously more large firms of any kind, and then fewer everything else.
Yeah.
I could not agree more. That all being said, I had not yet seen the light when I was in law school. And so I didn't do OCI at any point. And I instead, I applied directly to legal aid and was like, I only want to work here. And they were like, yeah, girl, come on over. And that's what I did my 1L summer, and I loved it, and it was amazing. And they paid me, which was wild. Huge. They paid me $12 an hour or something, whatever the Maryland minimum wage was. But
any
expenders.
dollars.
Huge for public interest work. If you're a public interest law student, brace yourself, buddy, because it's gonna be tough. Because you're firm path, co-students are going to be raking in $8,000 over a summer, and you're going to be like, I made literally negative $2,000 this summer. So, apply for those funding stipends. But legal aid of Maryland paid me, which was incredible. And it was great. I had a great experience. And after that, I did a little bit more of not OCI, but going through the CDO, the Career Development Office, and their resources, and trying to get different internships with government agencies and things like that. But yeah, my 1L year, that's what I did.
That's awesome. And I think it's worth mentioning that a lot of schools have a minimum stipend, whatever. So if you're getting paid for public interest work over the summer and you're making less than X dollars, so I think at Penn it's $6,000. If you're making less than that, Penn will top you off and get you to, maybe that was the wrong phrase.
Abhi, this is a T14 situation. Maryland did not have this. This is
I'm this is the first I'm hearing of this.
This is not a lot of law school situation. This is
look, Maryland, notably, Matt and I have talked about this, the flagship law school of the state of Maryland. So,
there are two law schools in the state,
and the University of Maryland is one of them,
that's
awesome. But I don't know, maybe it's a T4. But there are some schools where if you're gonna go do public interest work, and you're making whatever dollars an hour, like Erin was, and and there's a chance you're gonna make negative money, the law school will jump in and go, hey, we don't want you to make negative money, so let's come in and fill the gap, and make sure that you're making at least X amount of money for the summer so that you can pay rent and afford food. So maybe something to consider.
That's
when
very
you guys
cool.
are picking, when you're picking law schools and considering stuff, maybe something to consider. But
that is actually a good point. This is something else that's relevant for public interest folks, is schools that offer that kind of assistance are also the kind of schools that are more likely to offer like LRAP programs, like law school repayment assistance programs, which are huge if you're in public interest. So those can like supplement your public service loan forgiveness situation and help you make those payments until those debts are actually forgiven at the end of 10 years. Maryland doesn't have one of those, which sucks. But it's okay because I had a great time in Maryland, got a great education, etc. I loved it. But if you're interested in public interest, like that's another thing to be on the lookout for.
Or just get a scholarship.
Those are different things, Abhi. Like, because you can get a scholarship that's going to cover your tuition and stuff, right? Like, I had one of those, but like your living expenses, you might still take out loans to cover your living expenses, which is what I did.
We were just
we
talking
just
about
talked
this
about
on
this.
Crushing 1L. You're so right. That's such a good point. Yes. Even if you have a full ride to law school, you might still have to take on debt.
Yeah.
Because it turns out that life still costs money.
And that's so annoying. If only the big corporations were more big and there were more of them, that would solve this.
Yes, I think if the large companies were bigger, if Jeff Bezos was even balder, then everything would be better.
And why? Because they could just build us company towns, subsidize everything.
Oh my God! Yes.
Company towns have never done any wrong.
Anything wrong.
They have been great institutions anywhere that they've existed.
Amen.
Particularly Thneedville. Great example. You know, you can even buy air in Thneedville. Like, imagine what we could do with that on a large scale in this country.
You could even buy air in Thneedville.
I'm just saying. Ben Nate, maybe something to consider. Company town. Demon town.
Yeah, I think that LSAT Demon should start its own law school. I think that we should start our own law firm. I think we should start our own town to employ the attorneys at the law firm. Obviously. And all the professors at the law school. And then everything would be better.
Yeah.
We'll fix it. We'll get on that.
So, anyway, yes.
This is a good time to remind everyone that I'm here in my personal capacity. And my opinions do not reflect those of the government.
Erin is here in her official capacity. As a
Don't
writer,
undermine
editor,
that.
As a writer, editor, and legal visionary for LSAT Demon.
Okay, yes, that's fine. Yes,
technically
that's
true.
True. That's true. You can, yeah.
So like I guess debt and public interest work and incomes are different, and summer incomes are a thing that you might have to consider, right?
Yeah.
I think that's like one of our mission statements here. Correct me if I'm wrong, Aaminah, but like one of our mission statements for Crushing 1L is we want people at all stages of the law school journey, whether that's somebody who's just considering it or who's like tuning in to learn more about it as they're gearing up for their LSAT study, or as somebody who's tuning in maybe the summer before their first year and they want to get advice from like Erin, who, you know, an attorney who's gone through it. Regardless of where you are on the journey, we want to make all of these challenges and stuff more readily available and like more front of mind for people. Because I think this is stuff that I've had the privilege of learning through all of the work that we're doing here for Crushing 1L. But like, if I wasn't a part of this program and I wasn't a part of this project and wasn't talking to all these great people, I would be like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm just kind of winging this. And then like winging something this important that could have this many dollars at stake is just a crazy thing. That would be really crazy and sad. So we're hoping to just make it less unpredictable and give people more visibility. And so like when we're talking about stuff like this, like summer income is a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing that you need to think about.
A non-trivial thing. Like you can make a preposterous amount of money at a summer associate position at a firm.
Yeah, like tens of thousands of dollars.
Literally. Yeah.
I guess one thing that comes to mind after talking about, and I know your first year was crazy, but you got to like have a really impactful for summer, and you were doing things that really mattered to you, which is awesome to hear. I guess looking back in hindsight, looking back at your 1L year, looking back at your 1L self, are there things that you thought would be true of your 1L year and your 1L summer that ended up not being true? Were there things that you weren't aware of that kind of blindsided you? What were the misconceptions? What were the what were the crazy out of left field stuff that hit you your first year and your first summer?
Yeah. I guess so. I don't know if this is out of left field, but so like when I went into law school, I went in with, I think, a very healthy attitude. But one that like perhaps was not the optimal one for me eventually. Is I went in, I was like, I am approaching this because I want to do like a very specific type of work, a very specific type of direct service work. I am not aiming to be top of the class. I am aiming to do as well as I reasonably can within my limits. And like that's probably great. That's probably fine. I don't probably have it in me to be top of the class anyway. Like I'm just kind of I'm here, I'm going to do my best. We're going to see what happens. And I did do my best. In everything except torts. I did do my best. And then I was like, uh-oh, I have more potential than I realized. I should have been cranking harder first semester. Still, without killing myself, obviously, but like, and so then after I got my fall grades from 1L, I was like, oh, like, I should like make a concerted effort to pursue this. Not that I wasn't.
It's like the classic sunk cost fallacy of like, damn, like I actually did really well.
Yeah.
So I should keep doing well.
Yeah. Like, not that I wasn't, like, I was working really, really hard my 1L fall. Like, I was doing, like, I did every single word of reading. Like, I was taking another thing that, like, I didn't know before starting 1L was that you're supposed to, like, or that a lot of people, like, take notes on each and every case. And I was like, what? We're supposed to be taking notes, not just doing the reading. And so, like, I developed this, like, color coordinated, like, highlighting system for the cases. And then I was, like, writing little briefs on each of the cases. Like, I was working really hard. I just thought that wasn't going to result in something really noteworthy for me. And then I was like, oh, shit. Like, I should be channeling this into even more achievement.
You were lacking the audacity.
I was, yeah.
Skill
first
issue
mistake.
for sure.
Yeah. No, go in and just like aim for the top. If you have it in you to do that, is my it would be my advice to my younger self. Is like, girl, come on, why are you half-assing this?
What a phenomenal, like what a positive surprise though.
It sure was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh damn.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
I think some of our listeners might face like maybe not as positive a surprise as that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was working really hard. Like I did all this stuff. That's when I made the Prezi. I like had 2 study groups. Like I was doing all of this work. And I was like, oh my God, did the work pay off? That's crazy. I wasn't expecting that. And then I was like, damn, okay,
it
cool.
almost sounds like you were just kind of really into it. And you weren't it sounds like you weren't even doing it for the sake of getting good grades or whatever that means. But you were doing it because you actually really enjoyed the process of learning and the process of writing down all your thoughts and like. And I think, like, man, like, what better advice than that? Just, like, enjoy it. Just have fun with it. And it'll probably pay off.
Yeah. I think that's true. Like, actually try to learn everything. And then if you actually learn it, then you'll be able to do whatever you need to do to get the grades.
That's huge.
So, Erin, we know you were inadvertently crushing 1L, which kudos to you. Claps on that. But I'm curious.
Oh my God, it sounds so obnoxious now.
No. This is what we're after. We're trying to crush 1L, so I love that you were doing that. And no, so important too. Like again, also in my Aaminah's language learning model is like step number 1: want to do the thing for yourself and not for the grades. So you hit it, you nailed it. Yeah. But so you were crushing 1L, but I'm curious on the flip side of that, and kind of just to balance it out, what did you do to keep 1L from crushing you? How did you manage stress, burnout, so on and so forth?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And that's such a good question. So I had a few things really working in my favor that I think were very helpful, particularly for Zoom School of Law. I was a little bit older than a lot of my peers. Like I was nearing 30. And so I was like, bro, this is like, I am not gonna die if I miss one paragraph of reading or if I miss a question in class. Like keeping that mindset of just being like, I know what's important and I know what's worth beating myself up about and I know what's not. Like that was very, very, very useful. Because I did not have that in college and it was much worse. So like having that is very useful. Like law school is really important. Yes, everything is important. Like, yes, all of the readings are important. All of the classes are important. Yes, everything is important. That all being said, like you are going to have off days. There are going to be things that don't go right. And like, it is not going to be the end of the world. Like you are not going to fail because you flubbed one cold call. You are not going to get kicked out of law school because you got a B on that test instead of an A. Like it is fine. You are fine. You are doing well. You are fine. I like did my best to get as much sleep as I could whenever it was not like actively finals. Worked hard on my time management, etc. I mentioned I got a cat. Like this, like it sounds stupid, but my cat like literally was like the light of my life. Like during law school, I was like, I don't know that I could do this without you. Like she was so big. I also have like a very loving and extremely supportive partner, which was great. And obviously, like, isn't something that everyone just comes into law school with, but that was very helpful for me. Like, and I have a really supportive friend group who I leaned on a lot. Like I have people in my life who I leaned on. I have one good piece of advice that's going to be stupid, and then I have this is not advice, but it's a reality of what happened. My one like good if trite piece of advice is like I started like distance running. And I know that's so
No,
like
you're
so
preaching
annoying.
To the choir here. You're preaching to the choir here. We're both runners. So
yeah, okay.
I think there's a high overlap in like people who sign up for terrible things like law school and people who sign up for terrible things like running.
Marathons. Yeah.
Marathons. Everybody pull out your medals. Come on.
Stop. Abhi, do you want to compare medals? No, I'm kidding.
I have 0 medals. Aaminah has more medals.
Aaminah, you're a runner
right
too?
now.
Yes. The greater point about that, like you don't have to take up running, but you should take up something could
do it.
You do have to take up running.
I would advise it, but like take up something that is actively good for your body. That sounds so stupid. Like, I hate it when people tell me things like that. Like, I hate that. It makes me so mad. I'm like, oh yeah, you think I'm stupid, but whatever. Like, I'm telling you, do it. Take up something that's good for your body. Like, try to get enough sleep. Eat the food you need to keep your body going. Like, you can't learn anything if you are sleep deprived and not eating. Like, exercise, whatever. Like, the other good thing about running, specifically distance running, is that it takes a long time, and it's a long time that you were like not able to do law school. Like you have to literally go on a break and listen to your audiobook and like be outside. Like that's so helpful and important, and no one can judge you for being like, I'm gonna go on my run. No one can be like, that's an irresponsible decision. You're like, oh yeah, is it irresponsible like to exercise? Tell me that again. That's great. I love it.
Oh my god, you have just licensed me to do something that I've been debating in my mind for days, and like,
oh my god, Aaminah, I'm so excited.
No, well, see, okay, so I'm gonna pull up my credentials. I have these two.
Yes.
Whoa.
My first 5Ks.
Italy, Mexico.
Italy.
Oh
yeah, they were here in LA. After that, when I really started getting into running, which I have a whole funny story about running, but I'll tell you guys after the pod.
Oh my god!
But when I started getting into running on my birthday, I was like, what if I ran a 5K? So this is the Dia de los Muertos 5K that I did. Then we just went from there straight to the big leagues. This is my medal for the LA Marathon.
Oh my god!
That's a big one.
Yeah. And then after that, I was like,
no
what
halves?
if we did one more? Well, so I did do a half before the marathon. I did a half, which I didn't get my medal for. That was my bad. But I did the Rose Bowl half. And I was like, oh my god, I could do halves all day. Then I did the marathon and I was like, whoa, Whoa. But then I did the Nike After Dark half, and they give you this cute little necklace.
That's so
Yeah.
cute.
That one's
Yeah.
actually like aesthetic as fuck.
It's cute as
Like you
hell.
could actually wear that.
That's really cute.
Yeah. And now you've just said that I can do marathon training in my first year, so I guess I'll be doing that. Thanks for
Yeah.
licensing that.
No, you should. Like, yeah, you have to like do your time management, etc., whatever. But like,
this is so
it's
bad.
fine.
This is so bad because I really have been thinking like, what if I just like squeeze in some time to do the marathon training?
No, like it's so important. Like, it is important to make time for the other things that make you happy. Like, law school should not be your entire world and your entire life. Like, you have to make time for the things that are going to make you happy and that are going to keep you going.
And
100%.
I would say too, like in terms of like the fitness thing, like, okay, maybe don't run a marathon if that's not your thing, but like the mindset of like having fitness be a non-negotiable for you, and like again, like the distance running, whatever it is, like the thing that you take time for to make your body well, like the discipline of doing fitness.
Yes.
It translates outside of, and not just in like the boost you get in endorphins and all that, but like in terms of like who you are as a person. It translates. So, something to consider.
And that's it's so funny because like I think with tutoring students sometimes I'll give them that, and I think Erin, you mentioned this, like people hate hearing this because it seems,
I hate hearing it, and I believe in it, and I hate hearing it.
And it's like this weird toxic mix of like condescending and patronizing and stating the obvious and like all of these things. But like, folks, friend out there listening, if you take care of your body, if you fix your diet, if you get 8 hours of sleep or however many hours of sleep you need, and if you drink enough water, those 4 things will fix 90% of your problems.
This is like, I don't know if y'all have ever seen the like meme stuff on like TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever for my millennials out there. Like the concept of like a woman being like, I don't feel good, and this is so like heteronormative and like sexist or whatever, but unfortunately it accurately reflects my life to a T. It's like, I don't feel good, and whatever man in her life is like, did you eat anything? Did you drink water today? And she's like, no, and he's like, okay. And that literally is me. Like every day I don't run, I'm like, Sam, I don't feel good, and he's like, did you have any water? When is the last time you ate, and have you been outside? And I'm like, I haven't done any of those.
Over
things.
3. Over 3.
Why would you speak to me directly when you know that I had girl breakfast this morning, which was just a cup of yerba mate?
Don't get me started on girl meals, dude. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Whoops.
My partner Michelle, love you, Michelle. Shout out. I don't know if you'll ever listen to this. She doesn't give a shit about the LSAT. Or any of this stuff. Yeah, she's like she's like just a different person. But she'll call me and she's like, oh, like I have a headache. Like driving home from work, like I have a headache, and in my head I'm like, I'm not gonna say it. And she's like, yeah,
good, smart
boy. I haven't had she admits it herself. She's like, I haven't had a single meal today. I had some green beans. I had some green beans for lunch.
Oh my God, I used to eat just green beans for a meal all the time.
And it's like, wait, it's like, what? Where did you, like, or, yeah, it's like, I had 3 green beans. It's like, okay. I don't know. And
That's your right, Michelle. That is your right.
I don't say, or she'll be like, I had an apple for breakfast, and then I had 3 iced coffees. And now I'm driving home and it's 5 p.m. And I don't say anything. I just go, wow, that sounds really hard. Sounds like you had a really hard day.
I mean, look, like, there's another underlying thing that we can get into on this, which is like women feel this pressure to not eat, right? Like, which
that's a whole different thing. Yeah.
This is not what this podcast is about, but like there are layers to this conversation. But all I'm saying is you should eat, and you should drink water, you should like do
move.
Whatever your body needs.
Yes, and you should sleep.
You should go to the doctor. Actually, this is a shout out
to the doctor once. Go to the doctor one time.
No, wait, because this is a shout out to people like me. People like me, look at me. I'm talking to you, and I'm talking to me right now. Okay, go to the doctor, ladies. Get a blood test. Are you anemic? I'm anemic,
yes,
and
you are.
One thing that like I never do. I literally have a backlog of iron pills in my cabinet because I just like. Iron pills do not go with girl breakfast. Specifically,
amen.
But like in any case, I'm not gonna get into that. But like, go to the doctor in advance of your 1L year, get yourself checked out so that you can know like what you need to be doing to take care of yourself. Like maybe in the July before the August or September that you start.
Amen.
Like that's hot tips. In addition to like your fitness, also like check internally.
Yeah.
Okay, I release you back to the rest of the podcast now.
But like, yeah, like your physical health, like I like once I hit like 24, I was like, I am never in my life gonna get less than 7 hours of sleep ever again. And that has
Huge.
been an absolute game changer. Like getting enough sleep in law school was like the only thing that let me survive. Like, please sleep.
And that's this all chimes in with another LSAT Demon team member mentor of ours, Ala Jali. She's a rising 3L at Georgetown. This is her soundbite that she wants to communicate to everybody. Find your non-negotiables and respect them. So, so Erin, I hear like sleep for me, so huge, so huge. Certain jobs encroach on your sleep. I've had several of those jobs that encroach on your sleep. I refuse to let anything encroach on my sleep ever again. Another non-negotiable, like going to the gym. So like, it sounds like for you guys, it's running. I run, but less enthusiastically than you, I think. But like, if I don't get like 3 to 4 lifts in every week, I will be sad. I will be a sad boy. And if I don't like get to do like a D&D related thing once a week, like I will be a sad boy. So like, those are my 3 things. I need to be happy. I need to be happy Abhi, healthy Abhi. So for me, it's sleeping, it's working out, and it's like the fun, and have like a fun thing. Like a fun thing. That's great advice. That's great advice, Erin. Could we do a lightning round? Are you ready for lightning round, Erin?
Yeah, I think so. What are we gonna ask?
Favorite 1L class?
Oh, controversial take. Civil procedure. Loved it.
Why?
Loved my professor. Learned so much. Had a great time.
Worst or least favorite law school?
Torts.
1L class. Why? Why didn't you like torts?
Just not for me. Like, it's just torts is like very theoretical in a way that I didn't like. It was like a lot of torts is about like, like how to weigh like societal concerns about imposing liability on like certain actions and whatever. And I was like, what is the law? Tell me what the rules are. And that was not for me.
Very fair. Favorite Supreme Court justice, past, present, or not future, probably, but.
Yeah, my favorite is Aaminah. She hasn't been up there yet, but I know she will.
I'm working on it.
Present.
Sonia Sotomayor has type 1 diabetes, and also, I mean, that is obviously secondary to the fact that she's like an incredible justice and like has some bomb dissent.
Reducing somebody to their health condition is kind of fucked up, Erin. That's kind of fucked up.
I just, she and I are the same in that way, and that's the thing that I like about her.
Awesome. I won't ask you the opposite of that question for obvious reasons.
Yeah, please don't.
And then favorite law. Yeah, too many to get. Favorite law.
Oh, the ADA. I work in the disability rights section of the Civil Rights Division. ADA. Also, personal experience. ADA is what's up. There were a bunch of field trips my middle school tried to tell me I couldn't go on, and my mom was like, if you, for 1 second, think that I will not find someone to bring a lawsuit against you, you have another thing coming. ADA, that's what's up.
Moms and other like parents and parental figures are first zealous advocates.
Amen.
Truly.
Yeah.
What would we do without them? Can't live with them, can't live without them, right?
Exactly.
Favorite. What was I going to ask? Damn, I had a good one too. I don't have these written down anywhere.
Elwoods.
So these are just...
Elwoods is my favorite fictional lawyer.
Favorite fictional lawyer. Favorite fictional law media.
Legally Blonde. Sign me up. I haven't seen it in a few years, so don't cancel me if it hasn't aged well. But like, also Legally Blonde. Okay, this is more accurate. Legally Blonde the musical, which
Get your European lock in.
Like
Lock
that
in.
is. I run to the Legally Blonde musical soundtrack like at least once every other week. It is a favorite. Legally Blonde the musical, that's what's up.
Do you have like a favorite legal author is that a thing? Like for me, for instance, it would be John Grisham. But if you might not read any legal books.
I specifically do not read legal books.
She has all the laws on her bookshelf. What do you mean?
She has every law. She already has every law.
I do. Actually, my favorite writers are the United States Congress. Thank you.
Ooh, wow.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay, I take that back.
That was such a strong statement.
Yeah, that was silly. That was silly. No, I don't read law stuff for fun. I explicitly only read fantasy and sci-fi, like
so the
Robert
favorite
Jordan
author.
or bust.
Yeah, there we go. Wheel of Time. Too easy.
Yeah, a classic.
Ameena, do you have any favorites? Do you have any favorite questions?
Do I have favorite question? God, no. Not anything fun. Like
it's for the lightning round.
But I didn't know we were doing this.
I didn't either.
Nothing relevant. Like the first thing that comes to mind. But you already said like favorite legal media, favorite movie. Do you have a favorite movie that isn't legal media?
Oh my god, I wasn't prepared for this. I'm never prepared
That's
for
what I'm saying,
the favorite
like,
movie
what
question.
is
This is
this?
so stressful. I would have prepared in advance. No. I mean,
my hot take is that we don't actually have like favorite books, favorite movies. It's just whatever we
What's
liked the
most
most.
recent?
Most recently is
Yeah.
my hot
Okay.
take. Like I don't think anybody actually has like a favorite.
yeah.
Thing.
That's good. We recently watched Sinners, and I was like blown away.
Sinners are so good.
It's
That's the correct
so good.
answer.
No, that's
It's
just
so
good.
good.
That's just a good movie.
What else? Favorite highlight color?
Oh, for a second I thought you meant hair, and I was like, oh my god, what an interesting question to be asking me right now.
Also no.
So like I said, I had this like complicated color scheme. I think though that my favorite highlighting color is blue, and I used that for all the like legal analysis, legal reasoning, whatever that was like explaining how they actually thought through things. I just think it's soothing, and it just feels nice, you know?
It is the English color, so that is correct. Also, another correct answer. Blue is the
Yes!
color for English.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's strong. That's strong.
It is the blue. It is the color of English.
Yeah.
Because like
Good
it wouldn't
choice.
be. Because what is science is red or green?
Green is science, red is math.
Is math red?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Math is red.
Math
And
is
yellow's
red.
obviously like history.
Social studies or whatever.
Yeah.
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 What's purple?
Purple is a chaos agent. That's your drama class.
Yeah,
your
the
fun
drama
elective.
or like Spanish
Yeah.
or like whatever your foreign language class was. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well I'm out of favorites, so that's all I got for you. But thank you so much for your time, Erin.
Thank you so much. This was so fun. I love to talk about myself and hang out with friends and discover that we have so much in common with all of our Aaminah and my love for running. Like, this is great. This was so much fun.
I think you also have a love of musicals, which I also
I
share.
do. Aaminah,
Yes.
are we the same person? What?
In different fonts. Oh my goodness, yes. What's your favorite musical then?
It is Legally Blonde the musical.
Okay, consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you. This was an objective delight. Like, I had a great time.
We're so lucky to have you here. We're so lucky to have you just affiliated with the Demon, and we're so lucky to have you as a writer and as an editor and as a legal visionary for LSAT Demon and Crushing 1L. And thank you so much for joining us. Aaminah, any closing thoughts? Any last ideas or things you want to say?
No, I mean, this has been such a wealth of information, things I will be taking away from this. So many. So I'm really glad to have had this conversation with you. There's been so many insightful moments. So thank you.
And we're definitely, this isn't the last you're going to hear from us, Erin. We're going to probably ask you dumb questions as we continue on this journey.
No dumb questions, as they say.
No dumb questions, just dumb people, as I say.
Amen. And dumb answers.
And there's dumb answers too. But if there's anything I've taken away from this, I think you've inspired me to go into law school with an open mind and a commitment to being somebody who bravely stands for the status quo. Because I think that there's just not enough advocates for that. So that's my takeaway. Anyway,
I'm glad this is my legacy, is leaving you with that impression.
Goodness.
exactly. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everybody for listening. That's it for this episode of Crushing 1L. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, share it, even better, share it with somebody thinking about law school, somebody in your life that you know is thinking about law school. If you have a question, you can always write into the pod. Our email is podcast@crushing1l.com, or even easier, just go to crushing1l.com. It's just one big form, one big submittable form that you could type questions, concerns, comments into. That's all for this week. Thank you again, Erin, for joining us. What a phenomenal guest. What a privilege it was to have you here. We'll see you next time, folks. Until then, keep crushing it.